Hi everyone, it's Simon from Horoma Studio. Today we're going to have a look at this really cool exterior image of a colonial style house in India. So yeah, let's get started. um, so the idea was to have something in the early morning. So I think we get the idea, but there's some improvement. Overall, the image, is really cool. I really like it. There's something a bit, I think I'll come to it later. There's a tiny things that make it a bit weird, but overall the image, I really find it nice. The project is really cute. So, let's start with composition. In terms of composition, even though the building is almost perfectly centered in the image, I think it doesn't matter, because the good thing is that it doesn't sit alone with nothing happening. We have another part of the building that happens on top. We have this little guy here that does a nice balance with the overall image. We have this really cool line happening here that is really nice. So yeah, no, it's the composition is pretty simple. There's this idea also in terms of in the section you can read that there's this, it's a tea plantation. So there's quite a bit of a slope with terraces, actually no slopes. So what I'm wondering is how much it could have been interesting to maybe zoom out a little to get maybe something in the foreground in some ways. But it's already pretty cool. When it comes to lighting, I think there's something a bit weird, but I think it's because the mix of the original render and the post-processing is a bit mismatching. What I mean by that is that if you look at the overall project and the lighting, you can see so it's really low sun that catches really long shadows that are pretty cool. And I think it does really emphasize the project in a really interesting way, because then you can read all the intricate details more, which is nice. The thing is, I think this how's it called, flare is a little bit too intense. And even though I don't think it should even happen at all, because the thing is, a flare will only happen when you look directly, when your lens look directly to the source of the light. Whereas you can see from the shadows that the light is not here or not even here. It's way more on the right. So you shouldn't have that kind of thing. And also you can have so I'm talking about the flare. Then you can have this sort of God rays that will happen if you have particles in suspension in the air, because which in our case would mostly be how's it called, water basically. And in that case you could get some interesting God rays. The thing is, I would keep them way more subtle than this, because here it catches the attention too much. Another thing I think is that the sky doesn't look, for me it doesn't match the overall lighting we have here. There's also a bit of weird stuff happening with the hue here. So what I would do is either retain the original sky, if there is one, or go with something that would be for sure no big clouds like this. I would keep something super calm, because here it's almost stormy, so you don't want that to happen, because I don't know, we have a sort of calm setting here, so you want to keep it's simple. So I wouldn't go away from that feeling. And so maybe you'll have super simple long clouds. I would keep it slightly blue for sure, or blue orange, because it's the morning. but something really like simple. Because that's the thing, is that when you look at the image, there's a lot going on. I mean, in terms of density, you can see like all the little flowers, all the little intricate details of the facade, etc. And this, plus even like the trees here. And this, you need to balance it with something where almost nothing is happening, so that basically you can sort of have your eyes going back and forth in between dense areas and less dense areas. And the thing is that here, everything is a bit too, like everything is happening everywhere, so it's a bit too much. One thing regarding the tree line here, if it's possible, I mean, if it's like how it is in the real world, I would try to have like, it seems like there's only one line because everything is lit almost the same way. And there's no like, this type of dark areas is really interesting because it creates depth, and we sort of lack them. So what I would do is like add an extra 1 or 2 layers so that we do have like darker trees in the background, basically, so that would animate this a little bit more in terms of colors and or shades. There's a couple of things, it's completely unrelated, but small details that kind of catch the eye a little is like, they look super stepped. So I guess it's because the model is like squarish or something like that. But if you manage to get something a little bit smoother looking, it would be nice, because it looks like, I mean, it's supposed to be artificial because it's like obviously like someone's maintaining these, but they look a bit too blocky. So that's the only thing. I really like the type of like small like subspaces created everywhere. It's like super nice. There's one thing though, but that you can actually notice when I zoom in. I think the, how's it called? The sharpening is way too intense. Like you can see when you look at the, like everything is like way too sharp everywhere. And the thing is that it creates a weird sensation. And that's why I was talking in the early, like at the beginning in the introduction, is that even though the rendering is nice, even though the lighting is nice, this over sharpening makes you think like almost you're looking at a physical model, not the actual building. So because there's a because there's a sense of scale that you lose, because if everything is sharp, it means there's no depth. So usually, like when you look at something with your own eyes, or if you take a picture, the sharpness is going to decrease as you go, as you get away like from the camera. Whereas here, everything is super sharp, which means that everything looks like it was on the same single plane, which means that it looks like a painting rather than a photograph, which if it's something you're actually after, is fine. It's like the way to do it. But I think it would be more interesting to have like a more photographic feel and have like different types of sharpness depending on the distance. Another thing, and that's the thing also that makes me think that it was not the goal, is that you can see a lot of chromatic aberration probably done in post-production, or at least in the frame buffer. And the thing is that they are like, they're localized, like locally in general, you can actually feel it because there's like weird, chromatic aberration. So colors shifting from one hue to another in completely erratic ways. And the thing is that when you look at it from here, you're like, yeah, you can sort of sense it already. But when you sort of start coming closer, you can see like really strong offsets of colors that happen here and there. And it's it happens especially because the building is white, and like it happens in like strong contrast areas. So it makes sense that it's here. I mean, physically speaking, it's just that physically speaking, it wouldn't be that big, except if you really have like a bad lens. So that's it. In terms of, well, as I said, the landscaping, beside this, I think it looks really cool. I really like it. I think the objects are like placed in an interesting way. Yeah, maybe I would have moved this guy, but whoops. But whatever, I think it's really cool. What else? I think I had something else I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, there's something happening with the, how's it called? The glazing. I'm not 100% sure of what I'm seeing. And what I mean by that is, I think from what I see, it's like a perfectly reflective thing. What I would do is to still try to make it refractive punctually and maybe have something you can read behind. But what I would do otherwise, if you really want to keep it reflective because you don't want to model anything inside, is to make sure that what it's reflecting is actually like there's something happening. Because here you can see, you just get like blank reflection of like the sky, which doesn't even fit with the sky we have here. So you already see there's something a bit wrong. And it's going to be interesting because if you manage to get reflections that are a bit darker, meaning like it's reflecting a forest or whatever, you're going to have like a nicer contrast between your glass and your white wooden area, which is going to be really cool. So I think that's nice. And yeah, I think beside that, it's a really strong and cool image. There's really just like this, I think the main thing is really this, the halo here and the sky. If you change the sky and get something that matches the hue here, because that's the other issue when you look at it. Do I have my here? Up? No, not you. When you look at it, you have like this type of hue, which is orange. And here you can see it's like purple. It doesn't even match the color of your shadows. So you can see that there's something being off in terms of the hue happening here and even the light. So once you correct that, whoops, sorry again. Once you correct that, you're gonna have like a way more, actually it's gonna be more balanced and more calm looking, which is gonna help focusing again on the nice house and the surrounding. So yeah, I'll stop here, but really, again, great job. And I hope the simple adjustments I've suggested will help you taking it to the next level and that you'll be happy with it. So yeah, thanks guys, and see you on the next Teardown. Cheers.